So is it really possible to play a feel-good bass groove over just 2 chords? Watch this. Hi, I'm John Liebman. Welcome to another edition of The Essence of Groove. You know, a lot of people think a bass line, a bass groove, in order to feel good or to be a good bass line, has to be really busy and flashy and show a lot of chops and pizzazz or whatever. And that could not be further from the truth. Are there times where it is appropriate or desirable to play a busy bass line? Yeah, of course. But in most cases, the simpler the better. Like in most things in life, right? I'm going to play a feel-good bass groove over just 2 chords, a G7 chord and a C7 chord. Kind of like a 1-4 kind of feel. G7 is the 1 chord, C7 is the 4 chord. And I'm going to limit my note choice pretty much to the Mixolydian scale, which is just a major scale with a flat 7. So a G7, a G Mixolydian scale would be, and a C Mixolydian scale. Now, in most cases, you want to try to reach for the 3rd of the chord and the 7th of the chord. The root is obvious, doesn't need to be said, because that is 99.99% of your job is to lay down the root on the downbeat of the chord the first time that chord is introduced. So right away, that's 25% of your job. But if you can, try to hit the 3rd and the 7th. Doesn't have to be every single time in every single bar, but that helps outline the chord, and it helps make it obvious that you're playing a G7 chord or a C7 chord or whatever kind of chord you're playing. Now, in a G7 chord, the root is G, obviously, the 3rd is B, and the 7th is F. And in a C7 chord, the root is C, the 3rd is E, and the 7th is B flat. If you can try to hit those notes or work them into your bass lines in just the right way, it'll help you do your job as not only the timekeeper, that's what bass players do, we are the timekeepers along with the drummer, and we are also the bridge between the piano and the drums, between rhythm and harmony. We cover both of those things. So I'm going to play this line here. I'm going to start very simple. I'm just going to be improvising a bass line over those 2 chords, G7 and C7. I'm going to start really, really simple. Then I'm gradually going to get a little more complex, a little busier, not too much, just to show you a little bit of what's possible. And you want to give the music whatever it needs. You want to play what is appropriate for your musical situation, for your surroundings. So here's the groove. and so on. Whatever you feel, whatever fits the song, whatever fits the music. And you notice I pretty much confined my note choices to the Mixolydian scale. A couple of times I threw in a little passing tone between the scale tones, and that's perfectly okay. And by the way, the third and the seventh that I mentioned earlier, that's what I was doing up here. We said the third on the G chord is B and the seventh is F. And that's what I did up here. But I did it in kind of a sexy way by sliding up. And on the C7 chord, same thing. We said the third is E and the seventh is B flat. So I played those notes up here, sliding into them. But the point is, it doesn't have to be busy. It doesn't have to be complicated. And it doesn't have to put a lot of undue stress and strain on the old muscles and bones. Remember, when I mentioned playing simple, that is going to make the drummer more comfortable too. A drummer is going to be much happier to play along with you if you're playing a simple groove than a busy groove in most cases, because the music breathes. And that gives the drummer some room to do what drummers do. So give this stuff a try. I said I was doing this with the Mixolydian scale, so start there and do that. See what you can come up with, make it feel good, and hit me up and let me know how you make out. Share your experience with me. I'd love to hear from you. Just leave a comment here under the video or send me an email, or you know how to get a hold of me. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to help you. I've got all kinds of tips and advice for learning bass. So if you like this stuff, if you like bass and you want to learn bass, be sure to subscribe to this channel. In the meantime, I will see you right back here, same time, same place next week for another edition of The Essence of Groove. I'm John Liebman. Let's play bass.